Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody, welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is a Heel Heat Top 10. The topic of this Top 10, ways to improve the WWE Network. Now don't get me wrong, at $9.99, it's a hell of a deal. I love it, I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's a great deal, great package. These are just some things that maybe could put it even a little bit better. Everything could be great. Everybody loves a good cooked steak, but a good cooked steak is always better with a great baked potato or mashed potatoes or even a lobster on the side. To me, this is adding the lobster to the steak. Number 10, allow there to be a queue. I should be able to go in and pick matches, which you can do through the search, but I should be able to go and queue them all in order. That way, if I don't want to watch a pay-per-view or a show all the way through, I could watch match by match in a queue, and it would just go from one to the other, or pay-per-view to pay-per-view, or show to show, or match to show to pay-per-view, or however you want to do it. They should allow you to build a queue where it'll autoplay from that queue. Just something a little tweak that they could add that would make the experience a little bit more enjoyable, in my opinion. Number 9. I'm not saying do it going back and doing this on everyone, but maybe once a week or so, you put out one of the historic matches with some alternative commentary behind it with some of the people that were involved. In other words, like let's say you do the boot camp match with Sergeant Slaughter and Pat Patterson. Maybe have Slaughter and Patterson and somebody, a mediator talking about leading up, what happened, everything, their thoughts during the match. Just an example. Anything like that. I mean, the library is so immense, you could do anything. You could do Hulk Hogan versus The Big Show or The Giant at some point and have them talk about it. Or, have guys, let's say there's a match, maybe Steamboat vs. Savage, where you could have alternative commentary with guys like Chris Jericho saying how much that's influenced them. Just giving us a different spin on something excellent we've seen before. Number 8. This one's probably my biggest pet peeve of the network. They have certain Raws on there, they have certain SmackDowns, they have some of the ECW Hardcore TVs, they have some of the WCCW television shows, but not all. And it's Saturday night's main event. They have it all the way up to a point, and then it stops. If you're going to release, let's say, Monday Night Raw onto the network, release every Monday Night Raw. Release every SmackDown. Release every ECW Hardcore TV. Don't give me these gigantic gaps where right now, this is a perfect example. ECW Hardcore TV, the latest one's 95. Now, if you know anything about that, of ECW, there's a lot of great talent that came after 95. Guys like Tajiri, like Rob Van Dam, like Jerry Lynn, that you don't get to see in ECW because they haven't released it yet. Just my opinion, they should have released, if they're going to put something on there, release the full run of it. Number 7. We've all, as wrestling fans, a lot of us are professional sports fans as well. We've seen the shows like 24/7 and Hard Knocks, basically the documentary style following a team or a boxer or an MMA fighter. I believe UFC started doing it as well during their preparation, either for a season or for a specific match when it comes to an MMA fighter or boxer. I believe that they should do something in this vein, a documentary of following what, going through training, going through what they do, the press, all that stuff. They should do something like this for major shows, like a show like SummerSlam. We know the main event's going to be John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. So we do, or we'll just call it 24/7 just to give it a name. We do our 24/7 show, and we base it from the time the match is announced to SummerSlam. And we follow Brock Lesnar and John Cena 24/7. Every week, once a week, we release a new episode. It shows a little bit of how they prepare, how they train for these huge matches, what their travel schedule's like. Gives us a little bit more into the wrestlers. I believe it'll help character development. It'll help us care more about the wrestlers we're going to see in these mega matches. Also, it'll build a bigger hype for the mega matches, because by the time we watch this, and the time, let's say, SummerSlam comes along, you are so ready to watch these two guys go at it because you've just watched 4 hours of TV shows showing how much they give a crap about it and how much they're prepared or preparing for it. Now, our number 6 is probably something that they should do even if they don't replace it. That's dump superstars. I would dump superstars for a wrestling show that's focused on the divas. I think you could do more for the show, for what they do, by having a 1-hour divas only wrestling show than you could having a show like Superstars, which promotes the lower end of the card, lower end of talent that hardly anybody watches. You dump Superstars, you do a divas only show, or you could do something else. You could do a cruiserweights only, a tag teams only. I choose the divas show because you could build up, you have a lot of great divas talent, you give them a 1-hour show, helps to build them. You're not using them much on SmackDown or Raw. You could build them on this divas show, this diva-centric wrestling show, so you care about the characters. Then when you see them in a feud on Raw, you care about that character, and you're ready to see Paige versus Emma, or you're ready to see Alicia Fox versus Eva Marie. Just because you have that backstory, you've seen and watched these girls. In my opinion, I think it'd be better than something like Superstars, which is just, I don't know. I don't even know if anybody really watches it regularly. Now, our number 5 suggestion would be, let's put on there all the old Piper's Pits or shows of that nature, the Jake Snake Pit or whatever he called his show, Adrian Adonis' Flower Shop, the Brother Love Show, Carlita's Cabana, the Highlight Reel with Jericho, the whatever, what was Edge's called, I forget what Edge's would call them, I'm sorry, but you get what I'm getting at. These little interview segments and little show within a shows that the WWE's produced over the years. Well, let's release some of them to the network. Let us have a category of Piper's Pits. Let us have a category of Jake's Snake Pit or whatever it was called, or the Brother Love Show, or the Funeral Parlor with Paul Bearer. Just a fun little diversion, something that a lot of us remember very fondly. A lot of angles are started on these shows. A lot of your historic matches began with something that happened on these little talk show segments. Now, our number 4 is give us more of the shows that are no longer there. Shows like Shotgun Saturday Night, Sunday Night Heat, WCW Saturday Night. At one point, these were either the number 1 or number 2 show for their specific promotion, which gives you, like, you're going to see the angles that we see on the pay-per-views they have. You're going to see other stuff on there. It just gives us more content. Shotgun Saturday Night was something that was so different from what WWE was doing at the time. It would be refreshing to go back and watch that show again. Or Sunday Night Heat, which a lot of times was a lead-in to a pay-per-view, and you would see a pay-per-view quality match there, and even towards the end, where we had guys like Raven and Stevie Richards become the commissioner of Sunday Night Heat, it was something a little bit different and cool. And then you got shows like, obviously Monday Nitro is not on there yet. They don't have any of them. But a show like WCW Saturday Night was a flagship show for a very long time before Monday Nitro even came along. Put some of these on the network. Let us watch these. Let us enjoy and immerse ourselves in these. Our number 3. One of my favorite things on the network is the Legends of Wrestling Roundtable shows they do. They had to have been made cheaply and inexpensively. It looks like they shoot at least 3 or 4 at a time. Why not make some new ones? You have all these legends under Legends contracts. Let's bring them in. Do, like I said, you can record 3 or 4 at a time. Put them out once a week. Have new Legends roundtables. I think they're thoroughly enjoyable, giving me some backstory, some stories I've never heard, some stories that more in-depth analysis on stories I have heard. And it's just fun to see these legends talk about some of the most historical things that ever happened in wrestling. Just very, very enjoyable in my opinion. Give us more of it. Now, number 2 is do some live specials that are not wrestling. Now, in a moment, you'll see what I mean by this. They do some live NXT, and they do have the pay-per-views that are live on the network. However, they have a pipeline to other forms of entertainment. You got guys like Dolph Ziggler's out doing stand-up comedy. You got Mick Foley, who's very successful at stand-up comedy. Why not give these guys a live special? Or a Fozzy, Chris Jericho Fozzy concert, a live concert on the network. What can it hurt? All you're doing is taking out some video cameras. It doesn't even have to be live. It could be a taped one. You're expanding your universe. You're giving us something other than just wrestling, which, don't get me wrong, wrestling's great. I love wrestling. It's the reason why I even have the network. But it'd be cool to watch a Fozzy concert on there. It'd be cool to watch Dolph Ziggler or Mick Foley do stand-up comedy. It'd be cool to see Jim Ross and his one-man show that he's planning. I mean, I think this would all be stuff that would be fun to have on there. You could do Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast. You can live broadcast him doing that. To me, I think it would just add, again, it would add more to the product. It would give us more robust, more things for us to enjoy, more reason for us to keep coming back and keep paying the $9.99 a month. Now, before we get into our number 1 thing, we're going to do a thing we call the best of the rest. And this is basically the stuff that just barely missed the list. First off, a better search engine. As it is now, the search engine's okay. You know, you put in a wrestler's name, it pulls up some matches, but not everything. I think they need to retool that, make it so the search engine is more robust, more accurate, gives us more variety when you use it. Next up, add Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. Like I just said with the concerts and comedy shows and other things they could possibly do, Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling was a cartoon from the 80s based on the professional wrestlers of the time. It was fun, it was cool, it was something that us kids of the 80s really enjoyed. Bring it back. Put it on the network. Last but not least, to the best of the rest, a new show, a Before They Were Stars type show. You have these immense libraries for a reason. You could show us John Cena back in OVW. You could show us Booker T in the early years of WCW. You could show us Rob Van Dam in WCW early on and early in ECW career. You could show us all this stuff before the wrestlers became the megastars that they are. You could even help, if you wanted to, you could take some of the World Class Championship Wrestling Undertaker stuff before he was The Undertaker. Steve Austin back in World Class Championship Wrestling before he became Stone Cold. And you can make before they were star shows and just give us another show, another fun thing, another reason to care more about the talent. The more you care about the talent, the more you spend on the talent, the more you buy t-shirts, yada yada yada. More money goes into Vince McMahon's pocket, which ultimately is, the end of the day, what Vince wants. Last but not least, our number one thing, give the talent opportunity to create their own thing for the network. And what I mean by this is we have stuff like on YouTube, we have the JBL and Cole show, JBL and Cole show. We had Zack Ryder's The True Hollywood Story, which made Zack Ryder a star, whether they used it or not. Let the wrestlers, let the talent know. You know, go if you want to go to the Performance Center and you want to make your own show that you're going to put on the network, go for it. Go ahead and do what you want to do. Make a little, you can make it 5 minutes, you can make it a half hour. We'll put them up on the network. We'll let the fans watch it. Another thing, like I said with the Divas show, like I said with stuff like the Before They Were Stars thing, that helps to invest you into a character, helps to give you the backstory, give you more of a character you like. Let's say, and I'll use this as an example, John Cena is probably one of the most exposed wrestlers in the WWE. He's all over the show. He's on Total Divas. All over the place. If John Cena did his own show where, and we've seen this before, John Cena loves classic cars. If he did a show about classic cars on the network, it would give us something more of his character. Now, would everybody watch it? No. But some people would be interested enough that they would. And they would learn more about John Cena, become more of a John Cena fan. Or whoever the talent may be. You know, someone, Zack Ryder. Give him back his True Hollywood Story. Boom. You build him back up, the fans start giving a crap about him again. You got yourself another viable contender. Give a guy like Dean Ambrose an open mic with a camera. See what comes out of that. Give Paul Heyman a show. See what Paul Heyman does, you know? Give these guys the opportunity to create something and put it on the network. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an hour-long show. It doesn't even have to be a 30-minute show. If you want to do 5 minutes of something, like the JBL and Cole show, give us that. Give us something that gives the talent another outlet to get themselves over. You have the resources, let them use it. But basically, that's all I have to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been another Heel Heat Top 10.